Well, the thing with Chandrika was that it was one of the harder characters I played because I didn't entirely relate to that, because so far I'd done all these very realistic kind of films, and it was my most commercial film is Prem Ratan Dhan Payo. I had taken Nil Battey to Anand Rai and Eros and shown it to them, and in even post Anaarkali, in terms of, you know, just various stages of editing and the posters and what the looks were going to be and how and of course it was very sweet of my producers to allow me that space. I've decided that I want all my films to be and all my roles to challenge me in some way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, it should firstly present a challenge to me, and only then can I feel, once I satisfy that need in me, can I satisfy the audience's, you know,
craving.
I didn't have a plan to start a production house, but basically over the last 2 years or so, I've been quite sort of become very conscious of the process of how films are made. And I've realized that it's not, you know, filmmaking is not just about shooting. There's like a whole sort of economy behind being able to put a story out there. Firstly, even choosing a story, and then the economics of deciding how much of a budget will this story be viable in, that if it is told in this budget is when it will be viable. So I've become very conscious of these things. I think especially because of, you know, these two films that I did, which I headlined, Nil Battey Sanata and Anaarkali of Aarah. I was quite closely involved in trying to get both of them released. I had taken Nil Battey to Anand Rai and Eros and shown it to them. I'd sort of been quite involved in Anaarkali, and in even post Anaarkali, in terms of, you know, just various stages of editing and the posters and what the looks were going to be and how and of course it was very sweet of my producers to allow me that space. But then my brother basically said to me after Anaarkali release that, you know, if you're going to be doing this kind of work, then you might as well, you know, own the film and, you know, own the project in a way that, you know, then, you know, legitimately you can be involved and take those calls, and, you know, then it doesn't seem like, oh, that's an actress trying to get too big for her boots. So that's really how it began.
But Swara, do you feel the pressure to make socially relevant cinema as a producer? Because, you know, as an actor, you've broken a lot of norms. Your roles have been very different, very unique. They've all caused some sort of controversy or the other, consciously or unconsciously. So do you feel that pressure that I can't sit back and just make a masala film?
No, I think the question has been, do I feel the pressure to be controversial as a producer also? No, you know, I don't. I've actually never felt the pressure to be socially conscious or socially minded in my choices of films, because actually I think that people kind of collapse my Twitter voice with my image in general, because actually if you look at the films I've done, barring perhaps Nil Battey Sanata and Anaarkali of Aarah, they're all commercial films. You know, pretty much. And even the non-commercial ones, or so-called, like Listen Amaya, it's an out-and-out relationship story. There's nothing really very socially messagey about it. And I've always felt that, you know, art is not, it's not a manifesto for a political party. You know, however political I am as a person, I'm saying this, that the film medium is very powerful. I believe that art is transformative. I believe that all art is political, even the ones that claim to be like completely, like, you know, commercial. And yet, even though art is political, every art and every medium has a craft to it. And that craft should dictate what you make. So films are basically a new age literature. Like, you know, it's literature with technology, right? And so I feel that it is that what should drive the content should be the needs of the story, the needs of the characters, the motivation of the character, and not your political, you know, agenda.
Speaking of society, do you feel that your sort of three most recent big films, Veere Wedding, Anaarkali, and Nil Battey Sanata, you know the impact of your films better than any of us. Have they reached sort of the end viewer who you wanted those films to reach? The women, the women in the most interior parts of India, or were they not in the audience?
As an actor, you have no control over which audience your film will reach. I don't have that call about the distribution format of my films. I think that Nil Battey and Veere, of course, a lot more people saw in theaters. I think Anaarkali's had a very interesting journey because it has traveled slowly and steadily a lot. You know, it started doing festival rounds after the theatrical release. And a lot of that journey has also been about private groups organizing screenings and colleges, institutions. And I know that I always make it a point where people invite me, especially for festivals, and I always try and ask them, "Oh, can you screen Anaarkali or Nil Battey?" You know,
Sure.
Because I feel that I think that the film, especially now with so much technology, films are living mediums.
So Swara, I remember I worked with you on Prem Ratan Dhan Payo. I was assisting Suraj sir, and I would just remember the number of questions you would ask him about your character Chandrika. What was she like? What is she going to do now? Why is she thinking this? Why, right? What is your thought process in choosing a character, and going forward, what sort of roles can we expect to see you in?
Well, the thing with Chandrika was that it was one of the harder characters I played, because I didn't entirely relate to that, because so far I'd done all these very realistic kind of films, and it was my most commercial film is Prem Ratan Dhan Payo. And I feel like with every character you need to find a key, something that helps you unlock that character. And for me, I decided that was Chandrika's sense of injustice, because I share that with her. And then, I decided ultimately this is a character who's angry because she's actually angry on behalf of her mother. And then, and I don't know, I guess I think that when I'm on set as an actor, I kind of see myself as a student. So I'm just like, how much more can I learn about this character? How much more can I learn about this character? And I always feel that, I am, as an actor, servicing the director's vision. It isn't my vision. This is the director's medium. So I want to be 100% sure that I'm understanding that vision so as to be able to kind of, make sense of it and to be able to express it. And I think that this is something that maybe all my directors will tell you, that she asks a lot of questions, and I really do. Because I'm like, am I getting what you want?
Yeah.
I think that going forward, I think that so far all my roles have been fairly diverse. Like I've done I don't think that there is a type to my roles. I think that with Veere, I've even broken the whole commercial glamour space. So I'm hoping to be able to keep continuing with that.
Very interesting.
I've decided that I want all my films and all my roles to challenge me in some way or the other.
Yeah.
It should firstly present a challenge to me, and only then can I feel, once I satisfy that need in me, can I satisfy the audience's,
craving. Awesome. Thank you so much, Swara. I really appreciate you taking out the time.
Kovind.
Thanks
Pleasure.
a lot. Thank you.
That was really the seed of why I wrote that open letter, on Padmavat.
Yeah.
So I do feel that, you can't pretend, you can't be tone deaf to your context. I know this because of my involvement in Ranjana. And I know that the team of Ranjana had no intention whatsoever of glorifying stalking. While we were shooting Ranjana, Nirbhaya case had happened. I remember this so vividly. We were in Banaras when that had happened. And the film released in June, I think. And in those 6 months, discourse in India had changed because of the Nirbhaya case. In India, the fact that, feminism has led to higher divorce rates. Well, the only difference is that women who are now unhappy in marriages are talking about it. They're saying we're unhappy. Feminism is equally sort of a struggle for men to have better and easier lives. For men not to have to bear the burden of masculinity.